In the 19th century, British engineers were building a railway in what is now Pakistan. They needed bricks for the railway line, and they found these huge mounds of old baked bricks nearby. These turned out to be the ruins of an ancient city called Harappa. Nobody really knew how old this city was at the time. The workers just used these ancient bricks, not realizing they were actually dismantling a piece of history. But among the ruins, some strange objects started to turn up. One of them was a small stone seal, discovered by a British Army officer named Alexander Cunningham. It had a picture of a ball without a hump, and above it were 6 strange signs. This was the first glimpse of the Indus Script. It was a puzzle that, honestly, no one could solve back then. For many years, these little finds were just seen as curiosities. No one really understood how important they were. People even thought they might be from a much later time. But then, in the 1920s, everything changed. Archaeologists began to dig properly at Harappa and another large city, Mohenjo-daro. What they uncovered was a vast, forgotten civilization. It turned out to be as old as ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. And everywhere they looked, they found more of these mysterious signs. They appeared on seals, pottery, and small tablets. It became clear that this was not just random scribbling. This was the writing system of a great civilization, a voice that had been silent for thousands of years. The discovery was absolutely astonishing. It pushed back the history of the Indian subcontinent by more than 1,000 years. Before this, many believed that history in India really began with the arrival of Aryan tribes. But these cities showed a highly developed urban culture that existed long before. The script was the most tantalizing part of this discovery. It held the key to understanding the people who lived there. What did they believe? How did they trade? What were their laws? The answers were all locked away in these tiny, elegant symbols. The world waited for someone to crack the code and reveal the secrets of the Indus Valley. The excitement of the early archaeologists was, immense. Each new seal they uncovered felt like a potential clue. They carefully catalogued every sign, hoping to find patterns. They compared the script to other ancient writing systems, looking for similarities. But the Indus script seemed unique. It did not look like the cuneiform of Mesopotamia or the hieroglyphs of Egypt. The signs were beautiful and complex, a mix of abstract shapes and depictions of animals, people, and plants. The initial hope for a quick decipherment soon faded. It became clear that this was one of the world's hardest puzzles, a silent challenge from a civilization lost to time. The Indus script was born from a civilization of incredible order and planning. The Indus Valley Civilization, which flourished from around 2500 to 1900 BCE, was one of the world's first great urban societies. Its cities, like Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, were marvels of engineering. They were built on a grid system, with straight streets that crossed at right angles. This suggests a strong central authority and a deep understanding of urban planning. The people of the Indus Valley built with standardized baked bricks, a sign of mass production and organization. This level of uniformity across such a vast area, actually larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined, is truly remarkable. Their achievements went far beyond city planning. These ancient people developed sophisticated water management systems. Many homes had their own wells and bathrooms. Wastewater flowed out of the houses into covered drains that ran along the main streets. This was one of the world's earliest sanitation systems, a feat of engineering that would not be seen again for centuries. This focus on cleanliness and order tells us a lot about their values. They were practical, organized, and really cared about public health. The cities were hubs of industry and trade. Craftsmen produced beautiful pottery, intricate beadwork, and metal tools. The Indus people traded with faraway lands, including Mesopotamia. Despite their obvious sophistication, the Indus civilization remains deeply mysterious. We don't see grand palaces for powerful kings. There are no massive temples dedicated to gods, unlike in Egypt or Mesopotamia. We haven't found any large monuments celebrating military victories. Their society seems to have been peaceful and egalitarian, focused on trade and craftsmanship rather than war and conquest. This lack of royal propaganda or grand religious structures makes them unique among early civilizations. It also makes them harder to understand. Their power was expressed not through giant statues, but through the quiet efficiency of their cities and the quality of their goods. This is the world that created the Indus script. The script was likely a tool for managing this complex society. It might have been used to track goods, record transactions, or identify ownership. The order we see in the cities is reflected in the script. The signs are carefully made and arranged in neat lines. The script was part of a system, just like the standardized bricks and the planned streets. It was the administrative software for a highly organized hardware of cities and trade networks. Understanding the nature of this civilization is crucial to understanding the purpose of its script. The writing was not for kings to boast of their greatness, but perhaps for merchants to manage their wealth. The Indus script has not been found on large monuments or in long books. Instead, it appears on small personal items. The most common place to find the script is on square stamp seals. These seals are typically made of a soft stone called steatite. They are tiny, usually only about 1 inch across. On one side there is an exquisitely carved animal, like a bull, an elephant, or a mythical unicorn. Above the animal, there is a short line of Indus signs. On the back of the seal is a small boss with a hole, so it could be worn on a string. These seals were likely pressed into clay to mark ownership of goods, sort of like a modern-day signature or company logo. Besides the seals, the script is also found on other small objects. Archaeologists have discovered tiny tablets made of terracotta and faience. These tablets often have script on one side and a symbol on the other. They're not seals and couldn't be used for stamping. Their purpose is a mystery. Maybe they were tokens, amulets, or some kind of identification tag. The script also appears on pottery, where it was either scratched into the wet clay before firing or painted on the surface. These inscriptions are usually very short, sometimes just a single sign. This suggests it might have been used to mark the owner of the pot or its contents. The inscriptions are remarkably brief. The average text has only about 5 signs. The longest one ever found has just 17 signs in a single line. This is a major clue about the script's function. It wasn't used to write long stories, poems, or historical records. Its purpose was more immediate and practical. This brevity is one of the biggest challenges for those trying to decipher it. With such short texts, it's very difficult to find patterns or understand the grammar of the language. The script was used for quick, concise messages. This belongs to X or product Y, or perhaps a name or a title. The message was meant to be understood at a glance. The locations of these artifacts tell us about the people who used them. Seals and tablets are found throughout the residential and commercial areas of the cities, not just in elite buildings. This suggests that many people, not just a small group of scribes, might have been able to use or at least recognize the script. It was a part of everyday life in the bustling cities of the Indus Valley. It was a tool for trade, administration, and personal identification. Every time a merchant sealed a bale of cotton or a potter marked a jar, they were using this enigmatic script, sending a small message that would travel thousands of years into the future. The story of deciphering ancient scripts often has a hero, a bilingual text. For Egyptian hieroglyphs, it was the Rosetta Stone. This famous stone slab had the same text written in 3 scripts: hieroglyphic, Demotic, and Greek. Since scholars could read Greek, they could use it as a key to unlock the meaning of the Egyptian signs. For Mesopotamian cuneiform, the Behistun inscription served a similar purpose. It contained the same text in Old Persian, Elamite, and Babylonian. Without these keys, these ancient languages might still be silent. They are the essential link that connects a known language to an unknown one. The Indus script has no Rosetta Stone. Archaeologists have searched for decades, but they've never found a bilingual text. They've never found an Indus seal with a corresponding text in a known script like Mesopotamian cuneiform. This is puzzling, because we know the Indus people traded with Mesopotamia. Indus seals have been found in Mesopotamian cities. So why is there no text that bridges the two cultures? The absence of this crucial tool is the single biggest obstacle to decipherment. It leaves scholars in the dark with no starting point. They have a lock, but no key. This lack of a key makes the Indus script fundamentally different from other decipherment challenges. With hieroglyphs, scholars knew they were dealing with the language of the ancient Egyptians. With cuneiform, they knew they were looking at the languages of Mesopotamia. But with the Indus script, we do not even know what language family it belongs to. We have no external clues. Everything we try to understand must come from the script itself. It is a closed system. We have hundreds of short messages, but we have no idea what they are saying or what language they are written in. It's like finding a library of books written in a completely alien script, with no pictures and no translations. Without a Rosetta Stone, researchers must rely on other methods. They use computers to analyze patterns in the signs. They look at how often certain signs appear and where they are placed in the inscriptions. They compare the signs to later symbols found in India. But all of these methods are indirect. They can provide hints and suggest possibilities, but they cannot give definitive proof. Every theory about the script's meaning remains just that, a theory. The missing bilingual text is a constant reminder of what we lack. It is the ghost at the feast of Indus scholarship, the silent witness to our inability to hear what the ancient people of the Indus Valley had to say. Deciphering the Indus script is, honestly, one of the greatest challenges in historical linguistics. The first major hurdle, as we've seen, is the complete lack of a bilingual text like the Rosetta Stone. There's just no bridge to a known language. But, the problems actually run even deeper than that. The inscriptions we have are incredibly short. The average text is only about 5 signs long. This makes it almost impossible to perform the kind of statistical analysis that helps crack other codes. To understand a language's grammar, you really need sentences. You need to see how words connect to form longer ideas. With the Indus script, we might not even have full words, let alone sentences. Another significant problem is that we do not know the underlying language. Is it related to the Dravidian languages spoken in southern India today? Is it a member of the Munda language family? Or is it an Indo-European language, perhaps an early form of Sanskrit? It could even be a language isolate, a language with no known relatives, which has since vanished completely. Each of these possibilities would, honestly, lead to a different interpretation of the signs. Without knowing the language family, trying to assign sound values to the signs is pure guesswork. It's like trying to guess the pronunciation of a word in a language you've never heard. Furthermore, the direction of writing was not immediately obvious. By carefully examining how signs overlap on pottery or are squeezed at the end of a line on a seal, scholars have concluded that the script was generally written from right to left. This was a significant breakthrough, as it helps to establish the correct order of the signs. However, knowing the direction is only the first step. The nature of the signs themselves is also a puzzle. The script contains around 400 unique symbols. This number is too large for an alphabet, which usually has 20 to 40 signs, and too small for a purely logographic system like Chinese, which has thousands of signs. This suggests it is likely a logosyllabic script, a mix of signs for words and signs for syllables. These combined challenges, the short text, the unknown language, and the mixed nature of the signs, create, honestly, a perfect storm of difficulty. Many brilliant minds have attempted to crack the code over the past century, but none have succeeded in a way that is universally accepted. Every proposed decipherment has been met with strong criticism from other experts. The data is simply too limited to prove any theory correct. The script remains a fortress, resisting every attempt to breach its walls. It stands as a testament to the fact that some secrets of the past may be lost to us forever, locked away by a series of unfortunate historical circumstances. The Indus script is a visual feast, a miniature world of symbols that are both abstract and lifelike. The roughly 400 signs that make up the script can be grouped into several categories. Many signs are simple geometric shapes, circles, squares, triangles, and intersecting lines. These abstract signs are the backbone of the script, appearing frequently in many inscriptions. They are combined in various ways, creating a wide range of symbols. For example, a diamond shape might appear on its own, or it might be filled with dots or lines, creating a new sign with a potentially different meaning. This modular nature is a key feature of the script's design. Alongside the abstract symbols are a host of pictorial signs that depict the world of the Indus people. We see signs that look like people, sometimes carrying objects like bows or jars. There are signs that clearly represent fish, birds, and insects. Agricultural themes are also present, with signs that look like plants or farming tools. These pictorial signs are incredibly valuable because they give us a direct window into their environment and daily life. The fish sign is one of the most common symbols in the entire script. Its frequent appearance has led to many theories, especially since the word for fish in Dravidian languages sounds very similar to the word for star. Some of the most interesting signs are composite ones, where 2 or more signs are combined to create a new, more complex symbol. For example, a human figure might be shown holding a fish, or a sign might be placed inside another sign. This suggests a sophisticated system for creating new words or concepts. One of the most famous and repeated signs looks like a person carrying a jar on their head, often called the jar bearer. Another common sign is what scholars call the spoked wheel, which looks like a circle with lines radiating from the center. The meaning of these signs is fiercely debated, but their careful and consistent design shows they were part of a well-understood system. The overall impression of the script is one of elegance and efficiency. The signs are standardized across hundreds of miles and hundreds of years, showing remarkable consistency. They were carved into hard stone seals with great skill, creating clear and beautiful impressions. Even on pottery, where the signs were quickly scratched, they are still recognizable. The script feels both functional and artistic. It was a tool for administration, but it was also a form of expression for a culture that valued precision and beauty. The signs are not just dead letters. They are signs of life, small pictures of a world we can no longer see. The central debate surrounding the Indus script is a fundamental one. Does it even represent a spoken language? For decades, most scholars assumed that it did. They believed it was a logosyllabic script, similar in structure to other ancient writing systems. The goal, therefore, was to figure out which language it represented and assign sound values to the signs. This is the linguistic approach. The most popular theory in this camp is the Dravidian hypothesis, proposed by scholars like the Finn Asko Parpola and the Russian Yuri Morozov. They argue that the language was an ancestor of the Dravidian languages still spoken in southern India today. The Dravidian hypothesis is supported by several clever arguments. For example, the very common fish sign is a key piece of evidence. In Proto-Dravidian, the word for fish, min, is a homophone. It sounds the same as the word for star. This leads to the intriguing possibility that the fish sign was used as a rebus, a picture used to represent a sound. So, when an Indus scribe wrote the fish sign, they might have meant star, perhaps referring to a god or a constellation. This kind of rebus principle is common in the development of writing. This theory provides a coherent framework for interpreting many of the signs, linking them to a known language family that has deep roots in India. However, not everyone is convinced. A small but vocal group of scholars has put forward a radical alternative, the non-linguistic theory. They argue that the Indus script is not writing at all, at least not in the sense of representing speech. Instead, they propose that the signs are a system of symbols, much like religious or political symbols, or the emblems used in heraldry. In this view, the signs did not have sound values, but represented concepts directly. For example, a sequence of signs might identify a person's clan, their city of origin, and their religious affiliation. It would be a system for conveying information, but not a system for writing down a language. The main evidence for the non-linguistic theory is the extreme brevity of the inscriptions. No other ancient civilization produced writing that was so consistently short. Proponents of this theory also point out that certain signs, particularly the most common ones, do not appear to repeat within a single short inscription, which is statistically unlikely in a real language. The debate is fierce and deeply divided. If the linguistic theory is correct, then decipherment is possible, even if it is difficult. But if the non-linguistic theory is correct, then the script can never be deciphered in the traditional sense. We might be able to understand the meaning of the symbols, but we will never hear the sound of the Indus language. The Indus script holds a powerful grip on our imagination. Why are we so fascinated by these tiny, unread signs? Part of the allure comes from the civilization that created them. The Indus Valley Civilization was a world of surprising contradictions. It was a highly advanced urban society that seemingly had no kings, no armies, and no grand temples. It was a peaceful and prosperous culture that vanished, leaving behind beautiful cities and a silent script. This combination of high sophistication and deep mystery makes them irresistible. The script is the last, best hope of understanding who these people were and what happened to them. It is the voice of a lost world, waiting to be heard. The quest to decipher the script is a classic story of human curiosity and intellectual struggle. It is a detective story on a grand scale, with clues scattered across thousands of years and miles. The scholars who work on the script are like code breakers trying to solve the ultimate puzzle. Their work involves a mix of archaeology, linguistics, statistics, and computer science. The public is fascinated by this intellectual adventure. Every few years, a new claim of decipherment makes headlines, sparking hope that the mystery has finally been solved. Even though these claims are usually disproven, they show how much we want to know the answer. The Indus script also plays an important role in modern cultural and political identity, especially in India and Pakistan. The question of which language the script represents is not just an academic one. If it is an early form of a Dravidian language, it would give great historical prestige to the Dravidian cultures of South India. If it were somehow linked to Indo-European languages, it would support a different narrative about the origins of Indian civilization. Because the script is undeciphered, it can be used to support various competing theories about India's ancient past. It has become a symbol in itself, a mirror reflecting the hopes and identities of people today. Ultimately, The fascination with the Indus Script is a fascination with the unknown. It represents a boundary of our knowledge. We have pushed back the frontiers of science and history in so many areas. But here is a major civilization that we cannot fully understand. It humbles us. It reminds us that the past is not an open book. Some chapters are missing, and some are written in a language we cannot read. This sense of mystery is powerful. It is the same feeling that draws us to explore deep space or the bottom of the ocean. The Indus Script is a lost continent of the mind, a place for imagination and wonder to roam free. The quest to understand the Indus Script is far from over. Researchers continue to develop new methods to analyze the limited data we have. Powerful computers are used to run complex statistical analyses, searching for hidden patterns in the sequence of signs. New archaeological excavations in India and Pakistan might one day uncover more inscriptions, perhaps even a longer text, or the long-awaited bilingual artifact. Every new seal or piece of pottery with script on it is a precious addition to our small library of Indus texts. The search is slow and painstaking, but it is driven by an unyielding hope that a breakthrough is possible. Even if we never fully decipher the script, the search itself has taught us a great deal. The intense study of the signs and the context in which they are found has revealed much about Indus society. We have learned about their trade networks, their administrative systems, and the animals and symbols that were important to them. The debate over the script's nature, linguistic versus symbolic, has forced us to think more deeply about what writing is and the many forms it can take. The effort to decipher has been a journey of discovery in its own right, shedding light on the civilization, even if we cannot read its language. The Indus Script stands as a powerful metaphor for the limits of human knowledge and the enduring power of mystery. It teaches us humility. It shows that despite all our technology and intelligence, the past can hold its secrets tightly. But it also teaches us about persistence. For a century, scholars have refused to give up. They have passed their knowledge from one generation to the next, building on each other's work. This relentless pursuit of knowledge, even in the face of overwhelming difficulty, is one of the noblest aspects of the human spirit. The search for answers is sometimes more important than the answers themselves. In the end, the silent script of the Indus Valley leaves us with a sense of wonder. It is a tangible link to a brilliant and enigmatic civilization that shapes the course of human history. The elegant signs carved on stone and clay are a final faint message from a world that has otherwise disappeared. We may never know the names of their leaders, the words of their songs, or the stories of their gods. But their script remains a beautiful and frustrating puzzle. It is a testament to the lost voices of history and a timeless invitation to keep searching, to keep questioning, and to never stop listening for the echoes of the past.